Brandon Sproat was absolutely magnificent for the New York Mets, but it was only 2 innings. Let's calm down. But the question is, will Sproat sprout his way to Queens this season? Welcome to Mets Daily. I'm your host, Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Radio. Subscribe to Mets Daily. Share the channel with your family, friends. We're over 1,200 subscribers. We appreciate the support, but let's keep it going. Make sure you share the channel. Smash that thumbs up. Every thumbs up helps, so give us that thumbs up. There's the fireworks. It's a Friday. It's a Friday fireworks. We'll have a Freestyle Friday I'll drop a little bit later on, but comment below as well. What do you think of Brandon Sproat's debut? What do you think of his mustache as well? Let's break it down, what Brandon Sproat did. Let's look at the nerdy numbers, and let's look at the right-hand side. Shout out to my friend Shannon, Miss Met, looked at the pictures of Sproat and was thinking to herself, is that Matt Harvey? I mean, look at that top picture. The top picture is Matt Harvey in Italy uniform. Below that is Brandon Sproat, and my God, especially that picture on the right, they're almost identical twins, and one was an ace, one was the Dark Knight. What is Brandon Sproat? He's a religious guy. Let us know in the comments a potential nickname for Brandon Sproat. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but let's get ahead of ourselves and look at what he did. 2 innings. He was dealing. He threw 19 pitches. He struck out the last batter with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and he talked about with the broadcast crew about his new pitch and that sinker, that two-seamer, that sinker that he threw mostly, as you see, 36.8% of the time. Now it's 19 pitches. So these percentages and numbers, you got to take with a grain of salt. But this is a guy, 5 pitches. He got up to 99. He got as low as 79. That 20-mile-per-hour velocity difference is going to fool hitters. And he clearly has the stuff that if he could just get it right mentally, he could make it into the big leagues. And what was interesting is he did talk about that mental side of things. He talked about staying on the attack and what he got away from in AAA, trusting his stuff. And he talked about being a reliever in college, and he really struggled as a pitcher in college. And then he got a mental coach. And once he got a mental coach, he became a starter. He started finding himself. And this was a guy that dominated single A, dominated double A, and was atrocious in AAA in Syracuse in a brief time at the end of last season. And now he is trying to find himself, and it seems like he is. And what's getting overlooked by a lot of maybe naysayers of the Mets and this rotation and the pitching staff is in general is Jeremy Hefner, and what this coaching staff and what this coaching unit and everyone behind the scenes does in general is that Brandon Sproat said Mets have one of the best organizations in helping players and developing them. This is such a joy to hear if you're a Met fan, coming from past regimes where that was not the case. They didn't have an analytics team. They didn't have great scouting. They didn't have great pitching coaches. Now they got a great pitching coach and a great staff, and that's what a lot of players are talking about. And, man, the fact that he used that new pitch that Jeremy Hefner's worked with him more than any of the other pitchers in his debut on Friday, and he looked good. And, I thought he might go out for a third, but I think the Mets want him feeling comfortable about himself. If he gave up a couple of hits in the third, he might have not felt good. Now he gets out there, his debut, he dominates through 2, and he's thinking, you know what? I could do this. I could be really good for this team at some point, and Sproat could sprout his way up to Queens. And you see the arm angles, you see this velocity differences, and the fact that he's throwing those 6 pitches, it's a strong sign, and looking forward to seeing Brandon Sproat here in Queens. And that final guy that Brandon Sproat got out on the 99-mile-an-hour cheese was Hassel III. If that name rings a bell, it's a name that was part of the Juan Soto trade. Speaking of Juan Soto on Friday, Soto, Nueva York, hit his 2nd homer of the spring. And, man, talk about the aura. We've mentioned the aura with the Brett Beatty buying him the car, with just guys surrounding him when he's in the cage and he's hitting, and BP and games, everyone watching him and trying to take notes. Even Francisco Lindor talking about, I could learn something from Juan Soto, 26-year-old Juan Soto, 5 years younger than him. And everyone could learn from him, because Juan Soto is not only hitting homers like he did it off a lefty again, both of his homers coming off lefties, but he did it after the pitch before, bobbing his head like it was a 2000s Nelly song coming on or OMG coming on, and just bang, bang, bang. Home run to left center field, closer to left field, hitting it Oppo Taco. Juan Soto just, the pitch before, he commends a pitcher last time where he swung and missed on a pitch. This time he commended the pitcher for, having him foul it off. But he also said to the pitcher, I got you now. and I'm going to hit this next one out of the park. This is something we've never seen from Mets player. Like, how often does this happen where a Mets player bobs their head, smiles at the pitcher, then cranks one out of the ballpark? I mean, this aura we're talking about is real when it comes to Juan Soto. And there's a reason that in 5 full seasons that he's played in the big leagues, his teams have won 2 pennants and he has a World Series ring on his finger. This guy is a winner. And when we talk about how good the Mets are and people want to say, pitching staff this, bullpen this, they're not that good. Him alone added to a team that was 2 wins from a pennant. The simple fact that he's in this lineup is a lot bigger deal than I think the naysayers are taking account for. What he adds in terms of aura, what he adds in terms of the guy in front of him, behind him, it's something I've talked about a lot, is going to be massive for this franchise. And it's something and someone that is here for the next 15 years that is going to carry the Mets to the promised land. This team, if it may not be this year, they're going to win a World Series, maybe 2, maybe even more in 15 years with Juan Soto. You heard it here. I will hold myself to that. They're going to win a championship with him. They're not going 15 years without one. And just everything he's bringing so far, and it's so early, obviously, but if he could just stay healthy, there's no question this guy is in the prime of his career, 26 years old, and I want something when he homers. I want this to be a party at Citi Field, whether they play Nueva York, they got a video of Bad Bunny, whether we're all dancing, we're doing a little salsa, something. It needs to be a party because he's going to hit 40-plus home runs for many years in a Mets uniform, and there needs to be some kind of celebration when he does at Citi Field. Nueva York. Speaking of Latin pop stars and Latin songs, Candelita released a new one. You see the shirt, OMG. I'm going to keep wearing it until he's signed, like with the hopes that the Mets sign him. We released a new song that was like the polar opposite on Friday of OMG. It was a sad song. And Solo 2 doesn't need a Nelson Figueroa Spanish Academy trip to know what it means. It means only you. And obviously it's not really about the Mets, but maybe it is. Maybe he sang with Solo 2 in this song, which was the first song on Release Radar on Spotify. So he, him and his label or whatever are putting it out there. It was kind of sad. It was depressing. It was like I felt bad. He was like alone in a room, and there was, it was dark in there, and you feel maybe emotionally he's struggling with this free agency because he just went out and had the best year of his life hitting in terms of a number 1 song, all the money he made from OMG the song, the remix with Pitbull, and he's waiting to be signed. And the Mets found out Friday officially that Nick Madrigal is out for the season. He'll undergo surgery on that fractured left shoulder. So you're wondering about this last roster spot. It's not going to be Donovan Walton. I'm sorry, Anthony DeComo. It won't be. Maybe it's Jared Young, but he plays first base. I think Acuna's got to be on this roster. Brett Beatty, of course, homered, during when we were recording with Ashley Woodkowski yesterday. Shout out to her for coming on. It was a great show. Thanks for, we'll do more stuff with her and Samantha Croston this year on Mets Daily. But, you got to wonder, if his price can go down, will the Mets get him? This song made me think, hey, he really wants to be here. And if he could get down to $2 million on a 1-year deal, $3 million, Mets should consider it. I don't know. I just think they should consider what he brings and the joy that he brings to that clubhouse, and maybe trying to get something done. We'll see. I still don't think it's gonna happen, but man, it's something you got to think about, especially if there is one more injury. So hopefully there's no injuries, but God forbid, if there was, you got to think about it with Madrigal out. So we'll see what happens with Jose Iglesias. I just hope he doesn't go anywhere in the division. I don't want to see him in a Braves uniform or, even the Nationals, Marlins. No thanks. Definitely not the Phillies. So let's hope he gets signed so he doesn't have to write these sad songs. It's a Friday, February 28th. This is Mets Daily. Subscribe to the channel, share it, smash that thumbs up. Let us know, should the Mets sign Iglesias, or are you over it? Do you think they got enough? They do have enough with the young guys, and Beatty, Iglesias, Acuna, Mauricio, all these guys, that they don't need to. But I feel like for vibe's sake, I still would love to see Jose Iglesias in a Mets uniform. Mets Daily also on Twitter is @MetsDailyShow. So I'm Jake Brown Radio, Mets Daily Show. It's Friday, February 28th, and it's a Freestyle Friday. And I didn't feel like writing one today. I'm going to go off the top of the head and bring back a Freestyle Friday and just go through the Mets roster quick. That's the only thing I'm going to look at is the Mets roster. And I'm going to go through and I'll do my best. First take, Jake. Let's do it. Happy Friday. Happy end of February. Hope you all have a great weekend. This is Mets Daily. Let's close out with a little Freestyle Friday. Let's start with the backstop, and you're driving the Benz. You got a catcher named Francisco Alvarez. He's trying to catch out, and he's trying to make that money. Luis Turen's good, and he isn't that funny. We moved to first base. You got Big Meat Pete. He's got money in the bank, 27 mil to repeat. He's got to have a better year than he did last if he wants to make a whole lot of cash. Move to second base. You want to get Happy Jeff, Flying Squirrel. He better be good, because if not, they'll trade him. He's got to have wood. He's a batting champ, so you think that he should. So we talk about the backup. Yes, it's Acuna. Acuna Matata. Acuna Matata. It means no worries for the rest of your days. Swaggy V's philosophy is hit a lot of dingers free. Acuna Matata. Acuna Matata. Acuna Matata. Acuna Matata. Now you got to put the C on his chest. Francisco Lindor, he's the face. He's the best of the Mets. He's the best. We the best. Like Khaled said, yes, 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 he's the best. Move to the outfield, plantar fasciitis. I hope Brandon Nimmo's good, or we'll get the itis, because he's got to hit 30, get on base a lot, or he might bend down and start to rot. Move to the right of him. Yes, I'm taking seriously. Hey, Siri, you good for me? He's got to hit better than 186. You might have to watch the Mets on SNY or Picks 11, the 7, the 7-11. His backup center fielder, Tyrone Taylor, robbing home runs from heaven. And then in right, you got the other face of the Mets, $765 million. Man, he's the best. That's Soto. Nueva York, Nueva York, Nueva York. Number 22 in our playbooks, number 1 in our hearts. Put Juan Soto in your jersey shopping carts. Pow. That's the offensive Mets Freestyle Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody. This is Mets Daily. I'm Jake Brown. That was terrible, but I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments how good, bad, medium that was. Give me a rating. We'll talk to you on Monday. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you in March right here on Mets Daily.